Hi everyone, my name is Emily Harmon and I'm going to be doing my campaign presentation on combating social isolation. Did you know that 1 in 2 older adults over the age of 60 are at risk for social isolation? Social isolation is defined by America's Health Rankings as the absence of meaningful relationships. This issue can lead to bigger issues like dementia, premature death, smoking, and obesity, just to name a few. The coronavirus pandemic has created a breeding ground for social isolation in our older adults because they are more susceptible to the virus, therefore making this an even bigger issue than ever. My campaign aims to provide research-based information about social isolation to Champaign County residents, develop engaging marketing materials to combat social isolation, and increase knowledge of where people can go to get help to combat social isolation. I plan to create marketing materials that tell community members about warning signs of social isolation, target my flyers to represent diverse backgrounds, and much more. My goal is to combat social isolation in Champaign County, and I hope that you can help me with achieving this goal. For those of you who may not know, social isolation is defined by the America's Health Rankings as an absence of meaningful social relationships. And then according to the CDC, about 1/4 of older adults in the United States are considered socially isolated. And if you are socially isolated, you could be more at risk for dementia, premature death, smoking, obesity, and a lot more. And some things that contribute to social isolation or make you more at risk is if you live alone, if you have a health condition, or if you have a hard time getting around. For my campaign, I want to target older adults who are 65 or older in a variety of home settings, so like nursing homes, assisted livings, living by themselves, or recently widowed, and basically anybody and everyone who's 65 or older. And then all health statuses. It doesn't matter if you have a chronic condition or you're in perfect health. I just want to reach older adults. The behavior model that I want to focus on is our health belief model. And this is that if somebody perceives that there is some type of risk to them, that they're more likely to achieve a certain behavior. So for example, if somebody believes that social isolation is a thing and that there is a big threat directly towards them, and believes they can get over the barriers they may have and the benefits outweigh the negatives, then their self-efficacy is going to be high enough where they're going to achieve social isolation and therefore achieve a certain behavior that we're wanting them to have. One of the organizations I want to target is Senior Task Force, and this is a professional organization in Champaign County that has all types of professionals on it, like people from Carle, Christie, which are our local hospitals, nursing homes, assisted livings, rehab centers, and even some seniors on there. And their mission aligns directly with what I'm doing, and their mission is to combat social isolation in Champaign County. The purpose of my campaign is to combat social isolation in Champaign County. My call to action is to have local organizations provide resources that support older adults and that help, combat social isolation. And then some of the benefits for the organizations could be that my campaign would align with a lot of their missions, therefore achieving optimal health or whatever their mission may be. And then I already have somewhat good relationships with these organizations on Senior Task Force and Senior Task Force itself. So we would both be helping preserve the relationship between my job, which is at Illinois Extension, and the relationship with Senior Task Force and vice versa. And lastly, we could potentially create new relationships outside of our organization and ultimately provide better resources for our older adults in Champaign County. I would like to talk about this message briefly because the message can seem confusing in correlation with the picture, but I want older adults and professionals to be able to go to this media space page, which is U of I's version of YouTube, but be able to go to this page and find resources directly related with social isolation that can help combat or help educate or provide resources. social isolation in older adults is a worldwide health issue, and really through the COVID pandemic, it's created a breeding ground for it because of the risk that it poses to older adults. So social isolation has gained popularity, for lack of a better word. The risk factors for social isolation can include being homebound, physically immobile, living alone, and many more. The behaviors associated with this can basically be summed up as anxiety or avoidance around any social activities. Using the information I found, I want to use this in my health campaign to focus on educating older adults on what social isolation is and how to prevent it, but also giving resources that are both in person and virtual so they can help provide a better quality of life, not only for themselves, but their friends and family.